In this video, I will briefly introduce the research method of ethnography. There are several great books and many articles written about ethnography. For this discussion, I will be drawing from Laughlin and Laughlin's Analyzing Social Settings and Maxwell's Qualitative Research Design. What is ethnography? Ethnographic methods have a long, rich, and somewhat sordid history, as they were intertwined with European colonialism from the early 1900s. Since then, there have been several shifts within ethnographic methods. For the sake of this video, I will simply provide an overview of common themes and contemporary practices of ethnography. Put simply, ethnography is a study of people in their, quote, natural environment. People sometimes use the terms participant observation or field research as synonyms for ethnography. However, I'm going to use the term ethnography here, given its deeper history and association with longer-term commitments from the researcher. The epistemology of ethnography, or what is considered to be the best source of knowledge, is focused on direct observation. Specifically, face-to-face interaction is seen as the best way to understand others, or in sociological terms, to take the role of the other. Due to the focus on face-to-face interactions within the places where people live, work, and play, ethnographic methods are best suited when the question, topic, or situation in which you are interested is actually physically located somewhere, at least temporarily. There are several strengths of ethnographic methods when done well. They can help us understand the meaning for participants in the study of the events, situations, and actions that people are involved with. Ethnography can also help us with the understanding of the context within which people act and the influence that this context has on their actions. It can help with understanding and identifying unanticipated phenomena and influences and generating new grounded theories. It is helpful for understanding the process by which events and actions take place, and it can be helpful for developing causal explanations as well, keeping in mind, of course, appropriate scope for making empirical generalizations. Like other forms of qualitative methods, ethnography is generally better at generating a depth of understanding, with rich, thick descriptions of the practices and meanings of people's lives, rather than a breadth of understanding, which broad statistical analyses can do in terms of providing an overview of general trends. How is ethnography actually conducted? Laughlin and Laughlin state that this often occurs over a lengthy period of time with personal involvement of the researcher and informants, and that it always involves the interweaving of looking and listening, of watching and asking, with your overall goal being to collect the richest possible data. Another way that I like to think about ethnography is that it's like a practice of noticing how the details of everyday life are structured and given meaning and asking why this is so. For me, it's like jumping into a painting and becoming one of the characters while simultaneously observing details of shade and stroke, the paintbrush, the style, the content, while also asking how it is that the painting got made and who funded it, etc. The famous sociologist C.W. Mills called this process the development of a sociological imagination. Although he wasn't referring only to ethnography, we can say that ethnography can be useful in enabling this imagination, specifically one's ability to see connections between people's personal lives and their surrounding cultural and institutional structures. I'll conclude now with some thoughts about ethics related to power relations in the practice of ethnography. As with all research with human subjects, the researcher needs to think through how their own positionality impacts the possible ethical and practical complications of their research. This includes their access to sites and people, their interpersonal power relations with those sites and those people, and how those factors impact their own analysis of the situation. So in sum, the method of ethnographic research, when done thoughtfully and well, can provide rich and nuanced understandings of the meanings and processes of people's lives.